We have visiting Rotarians. We've got visitors.
A visitor. This is my wife, Valerie Edwards. It just happens to be my day is my classification off, and Valerie happens to have a Tuesday off, so we're together. It's like a rare sighting of us together in public.
Yes.
Might I interject and just ask our honored guest to just briefly state her past experience with Rotary?
Oh,
Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. I was grew up in Illinois and was at Sitka High School. Was the Rotary Interact Club president my junior and senior year of high school. So I went to lots of Rotary meetings in Sycamore, Illinois, and our family hosted Rotary exchange students. And I really got to know the values of the organization. And although I would love to have time to participate in Rotary as a grown-up, I don't, but I'm really glad that my spouse does. So, yeah, wonderful organization, and it's nice to finally connect with it.
Well, welcome, Valerie.
Thank you. I see our Presidente is on the screen now, too. Hello, Jay. Can you hear us? Yes. Okay, Rotary announcements. Duck race. Duck race is approaching, is looming. The duck race audit is upon us this Saturday at 9:30. We'll meet at the Sitka Fire Department conference room and do our annual audit. And we've got a lot of people here that have already signed up, but I'm going to put this on the tables, send it around if somebody else can join us. That would be fantastic. I think we had 18 people last year, and I think we got done about noon, which is pretty good.
Question?
Yes.
How many tickets are left? Just estimate.
About 800. Yeah. We're getting there. We've had I just sat down with John Whitecamp yesterday and went over a bunch of the sponsors. We had some come back, about 20 books. As of before this meeting, we had 29 books out, 290 tickets to club members, but got a few back, which is very good. So sell those books, please. We really need them. It will really help to get them sold. And ideally, if you could sell them and give me the stubs before our audit, that's even better. But if you can't, if you could sell them after that, just get them to me before the race, so I could get them in. Actually, a day or two before the race, so I can get it entered into our list. If anybody needs tickets, I've got plenty. Dan, on signups for sales, how are we doing? What do you need?
Thank you. That was my first announcement, my duck race announcement. We do have some spots left for duck race ticket sales at the stores. I'm going to start that with the gentleman up front and hand it around. It's also a reminder for those of you who are signed up to look at it and see if your name's there somewhere. So we're making progress.
Okay.
I'll have another announcement in a bit.
Normally, I've been told that since 2018, we've been sold out before the audit. Plans are a little different. It's been a little tighter for sales. We'll just do the best we can and so we can. But I'm assuming we'll probably sell up to the week before the race. Okay, so it's crunch time. Non-Rotary announcements or other announcements from the club? Dan?
Just wanted to say a thank you to those who did participate in the Rotary cookie table at the cookie reception at the Sitka Music Festival last Friday. We had a few cookies left over, but all the cookies were enjoyed, and we actually got a thank you by email from the festival, but I didn't send it to everybody. I'm just giving it to you here.
I saw something on Facebook too. Thanks on Facebook from the festival.
You look at Facebook, maybe, yeah. Thank you.
I do Facebook so I can keep up with the kids. Otherwise, I started it anyway. Sharon, do you want? Oh, yes.
Oh, sure. No, I wanted to ask about the fishing. How many fish were caught?
Sharon, do you want to give an update on that? And by the way, that was a lot of fun. I've never been there the whole time. I would definitely do that every year. That was a lot.
I don't have all of the official numbers, but it was somewhere in the 60s for kids that were registered, which is a little lower than our average, but it was okay. And there were only like 40 some odd fish caught. So they did stock the lake. And there were a lot of people out on boats, and so that may have made a difference. Sometimes they bite from shore, and sometimes they don't. But anyway, it seemed like everyone had a good time though. The kids seemed to be pretty happy. And the weather pretty much cooperated. It was a little drizzly here and there, but that was it. There was no dripping water in the tents or between them. It was always really nice.
That's because we put them up right.
But there was still no water. If it was pouring down rain, there would have been water coming down in the middle anyway, and there was not, which was really nice. I even got to go run an errand and come back, and nobody took my parking spot. I know.
Those are really good hot dogs, dollar hot dogs. Those are really-
Still have dollar hot dogs.
And Debbie got some really cute photos, and I've been meaning to send those out to the club, but,
Just a comment, I had never gone before, and I really enjoyed getting to meet a lot of the little kids and the parents, and I was impressed by the parents that constantly were untangling lines. And they were so patient, you know, and that you had these 3-year-olds that were going this way and then this way, and everything, and yet no one lost their temper, everybody stayed cool, calm, collected, and then these little people that caught fish, it was really fun to witness
I don't
their
think so.
joy, so.
I don't think there are any little
It was a
kids
great
who caught
event.
either. I don't think there were any accidental hookings.
No, a few into t-shirts,
Seemed
some
all- Maybe the
jackets,
first time.
yeah.
All was good, and we did loan out one of our life jackets. There was a boy who thought he could go out on this inflatable little raft by himself and lean all the way over the front so the back went flying up and with no life jacket. But he was very good about it when I said, hey, you need to wear one. And he was like, okay, I'll wear that. And luckily he did not ever fall in. One kid fell on the shore, he said, but he was fine. So that was good as well.
So I was really impressed by the three, there were some 3 and 4-year-olds, the threes weren't, but those kids are so bright. They were trying to get free, the little ducks we were giving away, and they were working on me like pros to get multiple ducks, so very impressive. Okay, our Sergeant at Arms isn't here, so we'll let Jeff find us next week. And why don't we get into our program? Carly, would you like to introduce our program?
Thank you. Well, apologies, because I have to be somewhere at 1 o'clock, so I'm gonna announce next week's talk and then introduce our wonderful guest. Next week, I will be the presenter, and I'm gonna do a presentation on volunteering at the Rotary. And not just my experience, but all the different opportunities there are. Some are actually indoor opportunities. And so I'll be walking through that next week with some pictures. But even better than that, we have a classification talk today by one of our newest members. But you've been with us now for what, 9 months or something, or longer? I lost track.
Yeah, it would have been big October.
Okay, yeah, so it's been a while. And so when I kind of thought, well, we haven't had a classification talk in a while, and how, and it says, you know, let the person be in Rotary for a while before you ask them to do this, so I thought 9 months is a while. So I would like to, Mr. President, fellow Rotarians and honored guests, I'd like to present fellow Rotarian Brent Edwards.
Okay, so I'm a kind of quiet guy, and I don't love public speaking, so I made a presentation, and now I don't see where to plug it in. Is there a place to?
Is there a computer right underneath you?
Down here? Okay.
If I show you what to do, it'll be messed up.
Somebody needs to help me, yeah. Okay, so
Make
I
sure
got
you guys
that.
share the screen.
I'll bring a flash drive.
Okay, let's see.
And then, that one, yeah. This all works. A lot easier. All right.
Okay,
Is that
now,
on screen?
Extravaganza, too.
I like
a
your
bit of a
flight
smart
of
ass.
Travis.
A quiet
I gotta figure out how to
You shrink this down.
I just want to know what a vaganda is that we're getting an extra one.
So that you can see the, and then
No, I got
you go down to, share screen.
Green button.
The green one, yes.
There you
And
go.
then you want to choose the program that you're sharing,
Okay,
not that.
The photograph, yeah.
That one?
There you go.
Well, that looks like Zool Bailey.
That's probably not
That's
the right
last
one.
week, yeah.
So go ahead and stop sharing or close that down,
okay.
the red one.
Where's the 12-year-old when you need
Then go back to
Sure, I
share
need to
again.
make this real fast. I'll trade places with you.
By the time I get up there, you can.
We just have one. Eight. Yeah, it's like a teenager sometimes.
I'll do the lights. I'll do that.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, we know how she got.
Jay, is that good? Can you see that? Yep.
Yep, he's nodding.
And then can you show me how to get this so I can perfect.
How's that, everybody?
Play?
That's
Good combination.
Give us one in the middle too.
Maybe one more
I
line.
need it on,
Perfect.
There you go.
Oh, no, just start show from the
I'm gonna
beginning.
do one more just to see what
You can
happens.
do from the beginning.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, from the beginning, there you go.
All right.
Cool. After that, Brett, you could just hit the forward key. There's a forward key there
Got it.
somewhere.
Okay, good. Well, now that we've all learned a little something about technology. Well, my name is Brent Edwards, as you have all heard by now. This is my classification talk, or my extravaganza. Not to talk louder,
A little bit.
I will try. Okay, so here we go. So Kari sent me the outline, and so I just, being a lawyer, I like to have a good scaffolding, and so this is how my talk is going to proceed. Brief personal history, my work history, kind of what I do now, which is my profession, why I joined Rotary, and if there's still time, we have quite a slideshow about Scotland and Iceland, which we just actually arrived back from last night.
That sounds like another program.
It could be, although maybe Valerie would have to present it. Or get my kids here to do it.
We like yes.
Okay, so brief personal history. This is me in the dressed as a clown, and that's my older sister. And we grew up, and I have a younger sister. I'll get to her slide next. We grew up in Anchorage. This picture, my younger sister, recently sent it to me, just making fun of how scary I look. And this is kind of a classic growing up in Anchorage picture because we are wearing full snowsuits under our costumes. And this is actually a pretty early memory of mine. And I remember going outside and being charged by a moose almost immediately in the driveway. I think my parents were like, yeah, you shouldn't wear your mask because you can't see real well. And then I got charged by a moose and I was like, good to see it coming. Anyway, so like I said, I grew up in Anchorage in Midtown, went to East High School, graduated in 1990. This picture cracks me up. This is my younger sister and her prom date. They now have kids that are in college and they're married. The other picture is my parents. They're still around. They also live in Anchorage. The good folks. I grew up hunting and fishing a lot with my dad. He's a long retired lawyer, but a lawyer. My mom stayed at home, took care of us. And then I met Valerie in 2006. This picture is, I think, on her birthday, maybe turning 27. She was studying, doing a residency program as a family physician in Anchorage. Kind of love at first sight. Our first hike was a 16-mile loop, kind of a blind date situation, one of those, maybe it'll be forever, maybe just she'll never call me back after going through that. But it was a nice date. As you can see, we got married about 2 years later. And she's always tolerated me from day one. You could tell because the dog was Man's best friend in the wedding. She did not tolerate me enough to let the intolerable dog be in the wedding. So that's basically it. I mean, my history, we got married, we loaded everything up into we couldn't fit, we packed up a moving van, sold the house, drove out of town in the Subaru Forester that I still drive today, and went to Illinois for our honeymoon, and had another kind of wedding celebration with her family, and then drove back and caught the ferry, and we've been here ever since about 2008. Work history, as most of you know, I'm a lawyer, so there's just not good pictures of being a lawyer. I can't imagine what I could show other than my oldest son in front of Abe Lincoln. So here we are. But I do have some boring slide about work history. So in 1998, I passed the Alaska Bar after studying law at Willamette University in Salem, Oregon. I was a law clerk for 2 years after that, worked for 2 different judges. As a law clerk, you do like legal research and writing for the judge. It can be really fun. It's really interesting. Actually, I recently did that here. Normally people do it right out of law school. It's something you do when you're young. The job opened up here in Sitka, and I did that for a year and a half as a grown-up. And it was really, really interesting to go back and do it as a grown-up. And I guess as a grown-up, 20 whatever, but it didn't seem like it looking back. After that, I was an associate at a law firm. We did municipal law. I put the map of Alaska up here. So I worked for a lot of cities around the state. I'm looking at the map. On Alaska, Sandpoint, Gillingham, Nome. I did a lot of work for Nome, Galena. Favorite client of all was Little Diamond. I wish I could have had a chance to get there. We were in litigation, and I wanted to go do a deposition there. I couldn't get there. My choice was to maybe catch the mail helicopter that delivers the mail once a week, and maybe get out a week later, or fly to Gamble and take a lund across the open seas from Gamble to Little Diamond. None of that really was something I was interested in doing. So I never got there, but it was really, really interesting to talk to them on the phone, and I'd call and we would have, not on the clock, a 30-minute conversation about, where the polar bears are this week, or how walrus tastes, and so that was really fun. The other thing I did a lot of was counseling for businesses and individuals, everything from property transactions, a little bit of criminal law, not much. Actually, I had to file a motion to get a client into jail once because he missed his flight out of Mamaroneck and showed up late, and they wouldn't let him into jail, so I had to file a motion to please let him into jail. And then oil and gas related work, and that was really about the National Petroleum Reserve, Alaska. It's up by, it's from kind of Nuiqsut over close to Wainwright. The oil and gas patch has been moving that direction for years. And when I started, it had just crossed the Colville and was just moving out towards Barrow. And that was really interesting work. That was a lot of trying to get the federal government to manage it in a way that the people up there wanted it managed. And also just reading all the leases and making sure that things were getting done correctly for my people that I was working for. And then, so I left the job because we came here. I didn't want to keep it. I was kind of at the point where I could have my name on the door or do something else, and we chose something else. We chose to come here. And I did, since we lived here, I did some, property transactions and some just general counsel for businesses and people, individuals. This brings me to my principal current profession, and my family and I, we call it the domestic engineer. When the kids were born, you can see the picture there. William is, I'd like to go to the next slide. Oh, I'll go 2 slides forward. William's at the bottom, he's the guy on my chest, and Phineas, the little kid on down on my legs. So this has been kind of what I've been doing for the last, well, since 2015, 2010. I mean, once the kids were born, I really couldn't continue on with as much legal work as I was doing. And so I took on different roles. This is the boring but essential stuff I do with pride. I almost didn't put the slide in, and then Valerie was like, hey, this is really like what you do a lot of. And I was like, oh, I mean, it's kind of boring, but I do like what I do. So cook, clean, shop, household maintenance. And when you do, something breaks, I try to fix it. You know how it is in Sitka, you can't really call a plumber in there. I show up in the next, who knows when. And then support physician's spouse, which is, we talked about this morning a fair amount. I mean, there's a bit of chaos that comes with my wife's schedule. She could call me at 6 p.m. and say, hey, I'm not coming home. Like, there's a woman in labor. It's just, good luck. And it's not luck. I mean, it's just what we've balanced out as a couple. But it's a big part of what I do, because sometimes, one of us has to be there, and it falls to me, and it's great, and it's nice that we can work that together. Trophy husband, being a bit of a smart ass, but I do have to go to events, dinners and banquets, and I do my best. That's all I can do. Might do worse there than doing here. We'll see. Parenting is a big part of what I do, so I just thought I'd throw in a picture of the boys and myself and the kids. Like I said, William, he's 13, he's at the bottom. Phineas is 15, he's at the top. Spent a lot of time just, trying to guide them through life, and so I thought that was important to include. And, dealing with stuff like this. Fortunately, we haven't had something this bad in a while. Fun director, this is also a lot of just, getting the kids out to do what they need to do. This is Phineas catching air. This is in June last year. He really wanted to get June turns in. They were terrible, but we had a good time. The kids are really into their air time, as you can see in the 3 pictures there. The picture up at the top with the people swimming, that's actually, the kids are in there somewhere, and that is during the open water swim, the Change Your Latitude open water swim, which is usually at the end of July, end of July, early August. And so that's a open water swim race. And beforehand, the team, or the race, the host, swims like this, where we take people from out of town, or even people from in town, but a lot of people come from out of town all over the world, and take them out on a cool adventure like this to experience a swim that they may never see in their life. And this, I've included this photo just to remind me that part of what I do is I'm on the swim team board for the Fairmount Barracuda Swim Club, and I've been the treasurer for forever, it feels like. And I also do the safety coordination for the race. And I've had to pull people out, which is not fun, but so far, nothing's been too bad. More just fun director. The boys are really into snowboarding. They're a lot of fun. They're pretty good at it, which is nice. The picture of the 3 of us together is at the bottom of their first run here in town on the backside of Gavin Hill. William is 10, and if you can't really see how proud that face is, my face in that picture, but it's amazing to get them out. The other picture is from this year up on Verstovia. And the kids, as soon as the snow starts to fly, as soon as there's a little dusting up on the hills, they are talking about it. When are we going to go? What's it look like? What do you think? Did it snow enough? So that's just a big part of life, what my job is these days. Other part of my job is a bit of a passion project. We have a lot on Whale Island, which is just out of town. We've had it for, I think, 11 years now. I think I thought I'd have a cabin done about 10 years ago, and I did not. it took a long time. The picture though of the somewhat completed looking cabin is kind of how it looks today. We can get in there and be dry and warm. It's wood burning stove, but not a lot else. Other thing about fund director, you can see William, he's making a knife out of aluminum cans he melted in the fire. And he's running his own angle saw. He's 13, but you just have to make sure the kids are doing safe stuff, or dangerous stuff in a safe way as it might be. Phineas this morning, when I was putting the slides together, he busted in and he's like, "Hey, where's the Dad? Where's the propane torch?" I don't think you should use the propane torch now. Oh yeah, no, fine. Just tell me where it's at. He's still around, so I think he did okay. The other picture, is just having fires. That's just a big thing we've done over the years. We used to, when the kids were younger, several times a year during the school year, I would put together what we called the hot lunch, and it would typically fall on a day that the kids had off from school, like not a weekend, but like an in-service day. And I would just send out a general invite and to say, hey, I'm having a fire. Families, bring your kids. And it was just a really neat way to mingle and get parents to meet and the kids to all play together. Not like a birthday party where the kids get to select who comes. It was come one, come all. But this is also, my kids are past this. But it was a fun thing, and that was, again, part of my job as a domestic engineer. Educator, also being a domestic engineer. This picture is when it was 2020 to 2021, that school year, kind of the worst of COVID. I homeschooled the boys. It was kind of the last year that I think that I could have taught them what they needed to know, at least in math. I really failed some of those lessons. Thank goodness for Khan Academy. And we did a family newspaper. Kids really worked on reading, research, and writing. It was we made lemonade out of lemons that year. More education. Until recently, we've been not shy to pull the kids out of school to go do something somewhat educational. So that's the kids at the Chicago Art Museum. I don't know how much they really got out of it looking at that picture. The other picture, I used to, when the kids were also a little bit younger, as being a domestic engineer, I would volunteer for any time they needed help in class or a chaperone for a field trip. Probably because my kid's the one that's grabbing the little girl, and they really just needed me there to control my own kids, I think. But I really enjoyed that. But again, now they're older, it's just not really part of what I do, but it's all part of the domestic engineering project. Provider, this is another thing about being a domestic engineer. My boys have food allergies, so they don't eat fish. They have a somewhat limited diet. We call it vegan plus meat. And so they eat a lot of deer. And so I'm not big on dead deer pictures, but this one I think is a little tender. This is the first deer I shot with Phineas, and he's 6. And it was pretty magical. Here I am taking the kids out, but we never shoot deer. We rarely do shoot deer when I have both kids or even just one of them, because they're totally laugh at chaos. And the other picture, over the years, I've also grown carrots for them, trying to maintain a vegetable garden. Last year I took the year off. This year I've just put a ton of work into it. You can't tell from that picture because there's nothing growing. But the carrots have come up, they're starting to come up, so I'm fingers crossed we'll have a good year and be able to freeze some this year. But they eat a lot of it. If any carrots we grow, they'll eat them as long as they're around. So provider, I would be lying if I didn't say it was also just an excuse to go wander in the woods, which probably is not domestic engineering, but maybe it makes me a better domestic engineer the rest of the time. I thought I threw in a couple of my favorite pictures. This one is Blue Lake on my return last January for my last successful hunt. Punched my last tag. This is Gavin Hill last year. And some of it is, I'm just enjoying it. So like I'll stop and take a picture. I carry my GoPro, and if anything seems beautiful, I'll stop and take a short video of it. So it's not all about hunting, and I really don't like the killing part, but I like to feed the family, so that's important. This is that's up on Sargon Ridge. And I still do some legal work. It's not been much. Like I said, I worked at the courthouse for a couple of years, about a year and a half. We had the kind of transition. I mean, I've shown a lot of slides talking about how this is stuff I used to do, and kind of before COVID hit, I got to this point where I was like, oh man, like I need to find something else to do because the kids don't need me so much anymore, and transitioning out of all this volunteer work I was doing for them. And COVID hit, and I was like, oh, okay, now it's felt like a never ending job for a while. And then we went to New Zealand for a year. So when we got back, then I worked at the courthouse. So now I'm kind of just starting to get back into some legal work. I could have started to get back into it a while ago, but I painted the house and did other projects that just was occupied. So I've taken on some legal work lately. So I do some counseling, just trying to keep people on the right path. Contracts, it's really wordsmithing. I mean, it's reading. Construction documents and stuff like that. It's to some extent it's really boring, but I find it challenging and interesting to make it right, and so I try to do that. Property transactions, I haven't done one in a while, but that's something that I have always enjoyed, and I'd be willing to pick them up again. They're fun because both sides get what they want usually, and when they don't, it's also kind of interesting because things are really not set. But somebody gets money, somebody gets the land. They've already agreed on a price usually, so those are fun. But generally, I prefer to solve problems. I'm not a litigator, and it's not my style. I don't really have a setup for either. I don't have a staff or anything like that. So so I think that's domestic engineering and kind of my current profession right now. Yes.
We want some trophy husband pictures also.
Oh.
Didn't get any, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell
I'll
you
have
this.
to forward those later.
I want to see him in a tux.
I'll tell you a story though. We went to some banquet. It was like the gala, right? And I got my tie on and all that stuff. And I was kind of pressed for time because I was out in the woods a little bit later than I should have been. And I shaved right beforehand. It was like the worst cut I've ever given myself since I was 16. I mean, I don't know what. And I just felt like I must have taken a quarter-inch of skin off my face because it never stopped bleeding the whole night. It was like the worst trophy husband. I guess I failed that night at pre-trophy. I was not only in a bad mood, but I was bleeding from my face the whole night. Okay, well, so why I joined Rotary, the service aspect is a big chunk of it. Like I've mentioned multiple times now, and a lot of what I used to do for helping the kids out and being part of the community, the kids have transitioned out of those phases of life, and so I found myself at the time that I was indicating earlier, I thought I would have before COVID hit, before we went to New Zealand, where I got a real job for a while. Now I don't have any of those things, and so I feel like I got the time again to think about doing some more service work. This was a kind of an easy way to get back into that, and so I'm looking forward to that. Education, I really generally like the weekly talks. I learn something new every week, and that's not a bad thing. Community, it's nice to meet other folks. I should get to know you over the 9 months that I've been doing this and probably in the future. So that's why I jumped over. That is my classification topic. So then the question is there still time? There is still time.
We got some
13
time.
minutes.
I got to those slides because, yeah, you know, that's fine too. Other slides from just our travels. Thought I'd start out because we were talking about duck tickets and our duck race. We were in Ballitter, Scotland. This was on sort of phase 3 of our Scotland travels. And Ballitter is just like a small town with It's on the Whiskey Trail. It's not a big tourist place, but, you know, I think Americans pass, or foreigners pass through there fairly often during the whiskey. We were there, just so happens we were there on June 1st, and we weren't there for whiskey, we were there for mountain biking. And then I saw the sign, oh, the Ballard Duck Race, I just took a picture of the sign, but I wasn't gonna be around for it. But it turns out that one of my kids' bikes broke, and they were there, and so they took a couple pictures. That's my youngest, I don't know, I'm sure his shoes got wet. I think he's wearing Crocs, so it was all right. So their duck race is different than ours. They have these huge inflatable ducks, and I think they had like a dozen, and then you bet on them somehow. There's some process of winning based on which duck gets across the finish line first. You can see there's a bunch of people up here on the bridge looking at them. Apparently, as told by my kids, the ducks were floating down the river, and it was like, I think number 4 was bound to win, and then the wind picked up and blew it into the bridge. And 3 was bound to win, and the wind picked up, blew that into the bridge. People up on the bridge are screaming and yelling, and some other ducks came through and won. I'm not sure who won, but I just thought it was an interesting juxtaposition to the Sitka duck race.
It would be easier to keep track of than 6,000.
Yeah, and I thought about whether these could get down Granite Creek. I don't think so, but I don't know. And the River D.
Indian River does.
What's that?
Indian River, they would.
Indian River, yeah. Yeah, they would get under the bridge too. Anyway, I thought that was just worth sharing. And there's some more general Scotland slides just to keep up the casks. We started in Fort Williams, which is, what, about an hour, it was more than an hour, 2-hour drive north
Glasgow.
from Glasgow. We have friends that live in Fort Williams. She is a doctor. She's studying with Valerie in the residency program in Anchorage. He is from Fort Williams. And so they lived in Anchorage for a while, and then she was one of the doctors at Haynes. They delivered a baby that had their oldest daughter was delivered here in Sitka. And then they went to Anchorage for a while, had 2 more kids, and then decided they wanted to go to Fort Williams, back to Fort Williams. So it's an American and a Scotsman living in Fort Williams. So really nice to have friends to go visit with kids about the same age as our kids. They have, their youngest kid is 10, but both their girls are, the youngest kid's a boy, both their girls are about the same age as my boys. So this is Fort Williams. You can see this mountain here is Ben Nevis, which is, I think it's Ben Nevis. If it's not, I think we got like little glimpses of Ben Nevis, or it could be behind it, but most of the time we were in Fort Williams, it was rainy or cloudy or threatening to rain. But it was fine. So anyway, that's a picture out their window, but I thought it was just really pretty. And of course, with the boys, and these girls are just amazing athletes and really adventurous. So they're cliff jumping. This cliff, that's William jumping off a cliff there into a river. And that's the small cliff for the day. The next one that they went off was like 3 times higher than that. They didn't include that picture. But it was cool. The kids had a good time. Phineas mountain biking at Ben Nevis, but there were a couple days of mountain biking there. And that's kind of touristy part of Fort Williams, and the other pictures are we're driving out of Fort Williams, and this is the Scottish Highlands, and you can just see it's pouring rain, nasty, but really pretty. We stopped at a castle, and that's really the best picture of it that really does it justice. I mean, it was pretty cool looking from there, and then it went downhill. The kids weren't that into the castle, but it was kind of like somebody's ancestral family home. Had pictures of their grandma's birthday party up on the wall. It was kind of odd. But you have to do a castle tour, and so we did. The other pictures of kids throwing rocks at old Nessie and the Loch Ness Monster. We actually never saw it, but they can't go to Scotland and not at least try to get to Loch Ness, right? And it was a total zoo. I mean, just tour buses and thousands of people. Then we got here, Isle of Skye, and as these pictures, that we don't have the zoo's not with us in these pictures, but it's not far away. The first picture is kind of the northern end of the Isle of Skye. We drove up there and had a arranged cliff jumping experience called Coastal Earring, and a group took us around to like where they places we could swim along the coast and then climb up and jump off the cliffs. That if you can't see a theme going here, I mean, I think Valerie and I may have a different idea of what a perfect vacation might look like, but the boys want to jump off the cliffs. That's okay. And then this other picture is Valerie just on the peak above, or the hill above where we stayed. There was really not much around where we were staying at the Isle of Skye. It was just really kind of 5 days of rest and relaxation. For Valerie in particular, when we go on vacation, it takes a couple of days to quiet down, just get into vacation mode, and so it was a really nice couple of days there. Yes?
So is the Isle of Skye, Skye as in our language?
Well, I asked a question. I don't know. There's this traditional, it's like a Gaelic or a traditional Scottish language for Skye.
We'll have to look that up. Rich is
Yeah.
taking care of that.
It's got an E at the end. I don't know. More Isle of Skye. These are not pretty. This is the day that's not pretty. We're supposed to go out on a boat. The picture of Valerie was supposed to be our boat ride, and it is. You could see the white caps from there, and it was. We didn't go, and I made a friend while I was there. More Isle of Skye. There was a ruin nearby we went and explored, and this picture is funny because the picture of the ruin is funny because it looks really nice, right? But I'm soaked to the bone because it just this squall that just passed and just rained like crazy. We got out of the car, rained like crazy all of the whole time we were out. We got to the top of it, and then on the walk back it turned nice. And we dried out by the time we got back in the car. And Phineas had never seen that phone booth, not in his recollection. He has seen them before, but this phone booth actually works. I mean, it's funny because it's grass all around. It doesn't look like anybody's been in it forever. But
It means Cloud Island in Norse.
there you go, Cloud Island in Norse. I'll go a little quicker, so I only got about 5 minutes. But so we're back at Ballater. Ballater was a lot of mountain biking. You can see us going up a line here. I don't have any rad mountain biking pictures because I can't keep up with any of these people. They're always way ahead of me, but they're all rad mountain bikers, far more rad than I ever was or will be. This picture, the girl in the red, I mean, we talk about rad. She is, she will probably, if she wants to be, will be in the Olympics. She crushed all of us, including her dad, who's also a very good biker. My son William thought he was a badass biker. He doesn't think so anymore. Not after, she's the same age as him. She just totally demolished him. Just such a good rider. It was cool. And the other picture of this other guy, this is Alistair, he's 10. Maybe not the best choice, but we started out on a day trip with Valerie and his mom. And then Alistair and I were like, oh, it's only 13 miles back to Valerie. We'll just go. And then we get all the way up this hill, and then we realized we got to go all the way back down and go all the way back up. So it turned out to be a bit of an odyssey, but you know what, I just kept a lot of distance between him and I, so I couldn't hear him complain. You know, I figured if I stuck with him, he'd complain, so I just 50 feet, I can't hear him anymore. And I think he just got used to it, just kept going. It was fun. It was an adventure, a bit of a suffer fest. This is my favorite picture of the trip. As far as kind of woodsy stuff goes, this is just pretty Scotland woods and Ballater. Our last stop in Scotland is Edinburgh. This is the Edinburgh Castle. This is just right around the corner from where we stayed. Just pretty Edinburgh. I just thought this picture was funny. Yeah, threatened to bludgeon you with a jawbone. Which also reminds me, we went to the Scottish Museum, which had a lot of really cool art, and I thought this was cool, but that other cooler stuff probably gets some stuff with it. Here we are walking around the castle in Edinburgh, and this one kind of cracks me up because they work hard to get a shot, just my family in it, but really like what you see behind Valerie and I is just the tip of the iceberg of the madness of the people and whatnot. But we're all tourists, we're all in it together. We just enjoyed it. Real quick, Iceland, after Edinburgh, we got a ride down to Glasgow, then hopped over to Iceland, and if you fly Iceland Air, you can get a couple-day layover in Iceland. Valerie does all the trip planning, so I don't really know how any of this works. So then she says, hey, let's go to Iceland. I said, yeah, let's do it. Sounds great. So we're in Iceland. This is, we had a couple, of one night in Reykjavik and then a half a day at the end. It's a cool town. Pictures don't really do justice to that kind of stuff, but this is a really cool church that's there, and then this kind of touristy street. But the whole place felt really cool. It really, there were just people walking around all the time, everywhere in downtown Reykjavik, which I thought was kind of nice. I think we're all tourists, but all the same. We had a nice dinner there, and I think we were there with some locals at the piano bar, and ate some local fare. I don't know what, I know what this is, but Valerie can explain it better, but this is in the rift where the two continents are pulling apart, and you're in this valley, you can see one side and the other side where this is where it's actually happening. It's growing apart like 2.5 centimeters a year, about an inch. And there's a spring at the bottom of it, and it's super crystal clear water, super clean. And it's kind of touristy, because like you're in this kind of mob of people, you get this dry suit on, it takes forever to get in the water, you're there for half an hour. But I mean, it's, as you can see, it's just amazing. It's just an amazing experience to snorkel. The water is 34 degrees Fahrenheit right here. I mean, you get in, you kind of just lose feeling of your face instantly. But everything else stayed kind of warm. The hands got a little cold, but all four of us did this. It was pretty cool. And then we did a pretty long hike the next day, and the waterfalls are just amazing. And it was just one after another. And it's one of those hikes, this one, the big one at the far side, there's like 200 people there when we got there. We were like, let's get there early, and if there were more 200 when we left. But I got a
cliff dive? Were the kids cliff jumping?
No, but yeah, you gotta watch them because they get awfully close. They're fearless. Anyway, so first, but it starts out with a lot of people, and you got to climb this staircase, and by the first mile, you've left almost everybody behind it. So this other waterfall is kind of towards the end where we turned around, and it was us and some Australians who were very nice. And Valerie likes to swim. Everybody else in my family likes to swim. I don't like to swim, but I don't mind when it's warm. So these are warm pools. This one is just Valerie. That pool was green. I did not go in, but Valerie obviously did. She's not green now. And the other one was like a 2.5 mile walk into this really pretty hot spring river. And how do I make this? Can I play it?
Try clicking on it.
Oh, here we go. This is the grand finale. That was great. We like geysers. Who wouldn't like a geyser? And yeah, I haven't been to Yellowstone, but there's like a little thin rope between you and the geyser, and it's maybe from me to Valerie, but maybe not. I think we're closer than that, and just how close you can get. I guess as an American lawyer, I can say most damn lawyers keep ruining for all of us. But, yeah, I think that's it. Thanks, guys.
I looked up the etymology of the Isle of Skye.
Yeah.
And they're not really sure, but it goes back to a Celtic word meaning like a winged island, because it's got so many lobes on it. And
Yes.
that's what it is. And so they're saying it's mostly because it's a notched isle or a winged isle, and it comes from the word skyitis or something like that, so it was abbreviated to Skye.
Okay.
There you go.
Good, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, East Bend Keith, so it's kind of like bird in
Yeah,
sky.
yeah. And the Celtic word was skyitis or something like that.
Thank you.
Ah, great.
Great.
Okay, any other business for the good of the club? Come to the audit. We need hands. Well, I think most people here are signed up, so appreciate that. All right, we're adjourned.
All right.
I was curious,